We offer the best grooming products for you. Yes, all natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, your style, class, and luxury. Make our products tailor-made for you with high quality. Yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. The black gentleman, yeah. Company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yo. What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormybman for this Monday, July 22nd, 2024. This is number 91 in the series of Nerds. And tonight we have a special presentation for you where we talk about crossovers we'd love to see. Part 1. Yeah. Because we're going to talk about these. I mean, I'm sure that you all who are listening out there and watching, those who may even catch it on replay, because you know there'll be a few that'll come back and say, man, I wish I would have caught this live. Yeah, you should have been in class for this one, because there are so many gems out there that we can put together for a show like this, where we could talk about some of our favorite characters, storylines, and films that have transcended the sense of taking in fantasy, entertainment, comedy, action, drama, all of the above. And we have on the screen right now a presentation of a crossover that spawned several sequels. But when the initial one was presented, audiences were clamoring to go to the theaters to see just what would happen when Alien met Predator. So, with that being said, we're going to go forward and begin to talk about this show and what we have for you this evening. Salute to everybody out there. Please smash the like button as you come into the building. And with no further ado, let me present my partner in crime. We got the brother Drew Titan in the building for this one tonight. What's happening, bro?
Oh, in the words of what's our brother's name? Bill Duke in Predator. I'm gonna have me some fun.
I'm gonna have me some fun.
I'm gonna have me some fun. Oh yeah, man. This one right here. This show. We all did this as a kid. We've done it as an adult, and it's interesting. I firmly believe that Aliens vs. Predator was the first time that Hollywood threw something out there to see if the audience noticed something. And being that we talked about it so much behind the scenes, we said, oh, you saw that? They said, okay, let's see if the rumblings was as such to the point where we could make a franchise out of it. And they did. Now, didn't really like the movie, but the idea was still thorough.
Yeah, it's the idea. Yeah, you're exactly right. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Aliens vs. Predator. I think that was public demand. However, the directors dropped the ball on that. I didn't really like the film. They could have did a lot better. But I appreciated the background story, because if you remember Predator 2 with Danny Glover, when he got to the spaceship, and he's looking, and he figured out that these were intergalactic hunters. When you move in, when the camera was following the wall of skulls, I remember being in the theater because I went to see that with my father. And when the camera was moving slow, my father said, "Hey man, ain't that the alien skull?" I said, "Oh!" Everyone in the audience was like, "Oh, you saw that?"
Yeah, it was one of those, like Marvel films call them the MacGuffins. They threw
Yes.
it in there.
Yes. And I said, "Ooh, so this is in the same universe." So that was just one of those things. And I said, "Oh, okay." And it took them about a decade, but okay, to know that they're in the same universe was really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, and it was something similar like when Will Smith's film I Am Legend came out.
Yeah.
And they had the MacGuffin in there for Batman versus Superman. Do you remember that? And I can actually pull that one up because I had put that up for conversation's sake. This was the city in the futuristic time. They even have a date on that billboard there for the film. I think that's 5/15/10. I think that was the date. And even though we would eventually get a Batman versus Superman crossover with different actors than who played those characters at the time that that film was made, and the emblem wasn't too different from that, because the film came out with Zack Snyder having introduced his Superman story, and this was the emblem for Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. So, you know, if we hold fast to some of this, eventually maybe some things will come true. What will happen, you know? But it's great that we could share the same ideas when it comes to doing something like this, because there's a lot of entertainment to be had out of this. And I have to say, you know, a lot of people didn't like this particular crossover. However, if you ever get to see the director's cut of this film, which adds about maybe 30 minutes more footage, it's far better than what was released theatrically for this film. And it explains a little bit more in exposition about the conflict of Batman and Superman. It was actually pretty interesting. And then, like I said, for the theatrical version, where audiences found it weird when Batman and Superman were battling, and he had Superman bested by using the kryptonite and whatnot, and when he was like, gotta save Martha, and Bruce Wayne, Batman, was like, why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? And Lois Lane tells Batman it's his mother's name. And it was at that moment, see, in the theatrical cut, there's some things that are lost in that scene that weren't included, but in the extended version, when Lois tells Batman that's his mother's name, it was at that moment that Batman realized that though Clark was an alien, he still had parentage, and he was in a suffering moment that made Batman be able to identify, because he lost his parents when he was a young boy. And it made something very clear to him that all Cal was trying to do was be a savior. And if you remember, if you saw the film, earlier in the film when he was arguing, Bruce Wayne was arguing with Alfred, and he was saying that if there's a small chance that this guy would want to take over the world or something, we can't take that, so we got to deal with him and everything. And Alfred was trying to pull him off of that ledge, because Alfred could see that Cal was a hero, and Batman was a vigilante, so he did things differently than Cal. So there were two different philosophies going on, but what connected them was that the loss or potential loss of parentage with what was happening in that moment with Cal, and what Bruce had already lost, and then the fact that both of their moms' names were Martha. So it was some dramatic stuff there. But like I said, that film, when you look back on it, there's some history there that brings things around that make you think it's a more appreciated classic, especially the extended version, than it was when it was first received in the cinemas. Your thoughts on that before we move forward?
Yeah, you got to be a true nerd like us to pick up on those small things. The name Martha, yeah, I jumped out immediately. You know, yeah, that was those little Easter eggs that they put out there. You have to have an eye for it. You have to have an eye and an ear for it. Things like that, I chalked that up to writing, and that was well written. And you know, I remember watching that in the theater. I was like, oh man, that's how they did that was just incredible. But yeah, that was the writing was very clever, as I call. That's the word I like to use. It's very clever how they did that. Well done. I appreciated that crossover. It wasn't something that was just mashed together because, you know, what I want the audience to understand is that crossovers, you can goof those up. You can goof those up, man. Like I said, the Aliens vs. Predator crossover, I didn't like the film at all. I didn't like it. It sucked, actually. But we got it, and I appreciated the effort, but it sucked. But in Batman vs. Superman, that was well done, and I even liked the name. They let you know a Justice League movie was coming. Dawn of Justice. They let you know. These things are very sensitive, and it's very easy to goof it up. But I appreciated that movie.
Yeah.
I appreciated that movie. I really did. The writing was clever. There were things that they were doing in there that made you think, and I appreciated it. You know, unfortunately, no, I ain't want to get into it because you already know we talk about it all the time. Like I said, crossovers are very sensitive, and it don't take much to mess it up. And congratulations, they succeeded in that. You know, so crazy stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. So as we get into this, I like to kind of set the table, so to speak, and I want to let everybody know that this particular joint is definitely Drew's baby, because he came up with the idea while we were live a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, "Man, write this down, Stormy. we gotta do a show on you know, crossovers that we would like to see." And I did write it down, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it in the queue for us to do soon, so we could keep that momentum going of the excitement of this. And as we were speaking behind the scenes here, I said that this is such a great subject that I could see us doing more than just this episode. So I put part 1 up there so we can revisit this in the future, even though we haven't even gone through it yet. It's like you just kind of know sometimes, you know what I mean? And I think producers feel that too when they're making movies, and they know, like, man, this is gonna hit.
Yeah,
and they say, let's keep some ideas set to the side just in case, so we'll have an opportunity to do a sequel. This is what we're gonna do. And I can recall that Zack Snyder was doing that when he did Man of Steel, because he talked about the fact that if this is successful, where he would like to go in a sequel. And sure enough, if you look at that end fight scene between, and I know it was still on Zack Snyder and the Superman thing or whatever, but when he was fighting Zod and they took the fight out in space, there was a Lex satellite. I'm not a Lex, Bruce Wayne satellite in space that they destroyed while they were fighting. And then during the fight during the city, there was a LexCorp truck that passed and, you know, destroyed that. So it's like, you know, he was already putting those little MacGuffins in. In the last act of the film, you know what I'm saying? Letting us know that this was a universe that was slowly being built with these little MacGuffins. I thought that was pretty clever, like you said, you know. That was very clever when they did that.
Oh, like some things that they do. A Great Adventure, Six Flags over here in New Jersey. I went there a few years ago. I ain't been in a long time. And when you're waiting online to do the Green Lantern roller coaster, something I'll never do again. They have a whole airplane there. And when you look at it, whose name is on the side and script? It says Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan, yeah.
I said, oh, that's clever. They do that at all the amusement parks with the superhero stuff. I was like, wow, that's nice, man. It's really nice.
There was one last MacGuffin in Man of Steel. And you have to know the history of the characters in the comics to know what was happening. When Clark found when he found the ship and he was walking through it and he saw the pods, there was a dead body in a pod that had decayed. Then there was a pod that had the hatch open.
It was open already, yeah.
And there was no one in it or whatever. But the people had said out there in the Iceland, they said that thing had been buried for like 20,000 years or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily agree that that was what that was, because if you know the Kryptonians, they can do certain things, like they have super breath, right? They could freeze something.
Yeah.
So imagine this, whoever was in that pod, they left the ship, but they put extra ice around it to protect it and preserve it, right? Mm-hmm. But Clark found that open pod. And I can tell you, if Zack Snyder was going to be able to finish that story, I know that that was going to be Kara Zor-El. You know why? Because she was older than Cal. Yeah. Remember? She was sent to Earth to protect Cal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But somewhere along the way, Brainiac intercepted, and she got trapped with Brainiac and everything. So I do believe that was going to come to be, according to how Zach was going to play things out. But it's very unfortunate that we couldn't get that stuff, because it was great. And I was very excited about it when I saw it. So,
man, missed opportunities, man.
Yeah,
missed opportunities. Damn it.
So let's go ahead and jump on into one of our first that you came up with here, and this one here, man. I'm not gonna go in any. I'm gonna go in a particular order, like how I downloaded them or whatever.
I just gave them to you,
Right. But they're all so damn good. I just want to say, damn, these are good, man. Salute to the queen, Tay, the real queen of MMA and combat talk, in the super chat. She's out there. She says, for the support. Thank you, queen. We appreciate you, Tay, out there. Thank you so much. We hope that you're enjoying this as much as we are. So I'm going to put this up here, man, to kick things off. This right here, bro. I just cracked up laughing when I saw this and retrieved this out the email. This right here, man.
Dude, bro, could you imagine? Could you imagine this?
Dude, this is
man.
We haven't even gone through the rest, and this might be the best one.
And you know what's amazing? This could be done in CGI or in animation, because the Black Dynamite cartoon is hilarious.
Right?
You can do this. This is funny, man. If you've never saw Black Dynamite, if you've never seen that movie, I recommend it. It's funny as hell, man.
It is straight out of the Dolomite ilk. It is, man.
If you never watched the Dolomite film, Rudy Ray Moore, please. It is blaxploitation to the 8th power, to the 12th power. And it's all done on purpose. If you go watch the Rudy Ray Moore movie done by Eddie Murphy, nailed it. Great film, man. But my gosh, this would have been an amazing thing. An amazing thing. As a matter of fact, if you were to get Eddie Murphy to play Dolomite in a movie with Black Dynamite, I'd take that.
Yeah,
I'd take that. That's funny as hell, man.
Absolutely, man.
Woo.
And to be honest, in Black Dynamite, they had old boy Cream Corn. He was like playing a Dolomite-like character, what?
Yeah, he sure was.
He was
Sure was. Cream Corn. Oh, man. This would have been great.
This is excellent right here, bro. This is
Human Tornado. Yeah. Oh, Reef. That was the first Dolomite movie I saw. I had no business watching that at that age, but I saw it. When that brother jumped out the window down that like hill, and when he landed, he was fully dressed. Oh my God. I fell out. That was funny, man. Oh, Dolomite.
Yeah. And you know what? When Rudy Ray Moore was making these low-budget films in the early 70s, they were so low budget that sometimes they had to leave the mistakes in the film. So, like, there would be boom mics and camera shots, and sometimes you would catch some nudity that you wasn't supposed to see.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
like they could show breasts and the butt or whatever, but sometimes there might have been a flash of something else that you wasn't supposed to see. And
Oh, man.
you know, just like look, bloopers that made it into the final film. That's
Oh,
what made Dolomite, you know, so classic. And then when Michael Jai White did Black Dynamite, he included stuff like that in the movie. So
man.
made it feel like it was straight out of 1973.
I needed a sequel to Black Dynamite, man. And the cartoon's funny, man. The cartoon's funny, but man, I a live action sequel. I didn't know the live action. When the movie came out, I didn't know it was gonna be that good. My God, that was funny.
And I remember that line he told old girl, what's her name? The woman in there, Sally Richardson. He said, "Now, mama, you can hit the streets or the sheets. It don't make me no, never mind." It had me rolling. And then when they showed that they was getting ready to get it on, you remember them blacklight velvet posters? They animated one of those and showed them coming together in that song, "Oh baby, baby, baby."
Man,
That was
a gem, an absolute gem, man.
But you have to know 70s films to
Yeah.
get the humor in all of that, man.
Yep.
That
Yep.
and listen, the bar fight when he goes into that pool hall and McKaylee Williamson was telling him, "Man, get out of here before we beat you like a broken mule." And he walks over to the door of the pool hall to flip the close sign. But if you watch closely, the sign said closed on both sides. So he goes to flip the sign. It says closed, but it was already saying closed. And when he flipped it, it said closed on the other side too. And then the first dude that he hit, he knocked him through the glass window, right? And the guy went crashing through the window of the pool hall outside on the concrete. And then when the camera cuts back to inside where they're getting ready to fight, the guy that he just threw through the window is the first guy he punches. Meaning that they were short on stuntmen.
Oh man.
That's that kind of stuff right there. And that's straight out of Dolomite, man.
Yeah.
Dolomite was like, you remember how Dolomite used to do that karate, but he couldn't lift his feet no more than 2 feet off the ground when he do a kick.
Oh man.
And then when they had Rudy Ray Moore stuntman, he was all slender and lithe, you know, and Rudy Ray Moore was kind of chunky set, you know.
Dude, yeah. Oh man. You have to watch a Dolomite film, man. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch a Dolomite film to understand Black Dynamite.
Exactly.
You gotta watch it, man. Funny as hell, man. Funny.
Yeah.
Man.
And Young Deezy, he's saying out there in the chat, he was like, or with the nunchucks. Yeah, he was working those nunchucks, man, and they slipped out his hand, but he kept fighting. Then they came back to him like Captain America's shield. And he kept fighting. I was like, you know what, man? This movie right here, when I saw that, I was like, instant classic.
Instant classic. Instant classic. But that's something, with what we do with film today, that's something that can be done, but it was something that you could just imagine if those two characters would have crossed over. Brilliant stuff, man. That would have been brilliant, man.
Yeah,
oh,
and
man,
if that stuff don't make you laugh, man, you ain't got no funny bone at all. It's like, that stuff is hilarious, man. And you could just watch it, especially when you could get it, you know, watch it at home, like on DVD or something, and you could like rewind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Great stuff. Another one that you had given us that I know you wanted to talk about this one because you kind of got into talking about it when you came up with that idea. But this one right here, bro.
Oh,
Tango and Cash meets Lethal Weapon.
Listen, man. I know Lethal Weapon, that franchise beat us in the head. They had like 4 films. They had a TV series that I never watched, but the Lethal Weapon series in the movies, those were solid films, man. All the way through, solid films. And the storyline was really good. Danny Glover's house get blown up in every damn film. It was crazy. His family was always in trouble. It was crazy. He brought work home.
Remember when they had him stuck on the toilet?
Oh man, he said my legs are so goddamn numb. It was crazy. I'm too old for this ish. You know, it was crazy, man. Now, Tango and Cash was a sleeper, and I wanted a part 2 to this. It was one of those movies, you knew what you was expecting, high action, high octane, things blowing up. They were cops. It was the 2 best cops. Where were they, in LA? I forgot. But these were the 2 best cops. And they got framed, they were put in jail, and all the villains that they locked up were trying to kill them. But they overcame, and it was a great story. I would love to have seen a sequel to this, but if these 2 franchises crossed over for one film, that would have been great. And this was, we're talking, Tango Cash came out when? The 90s, early 90s, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah. This would have been perfect with the right writer. Give me a 2-hour film. I don't know, 1990. Thank you, Young Deezy. I don't know, maybe if, well, you couldn't do that now. I don't know if they get framed and then they send in rigs to try and go take them down, and they're shooting shots at each other, and then they figure out, oh no, it's a super mob boss that's trying to kill all of them, and they got to team up. That would have been brilliant. And that's what I want y'all to understand is what Stallone did was he capitalized on all of that with the what you call the films that he made. The
Expendables.
The Expendables. That was paying homage to everything we came up watching in the 80s and 90s. You know, he paid homage to that, although everyone was 1,000 years old by the time he did it. But man, this would have been, if they did a crossover film in the 90s, like let's say 92, 93, they'd have got all my money.
You remember that scene in the Expendables when they were all pinned down on that city street?
Yes.
And then somebody came through there blowing up some stuff, and it was a tank, and out comes Chuck Norris.
Oh.
And Chuck Norris walks in there, and they were playing that little Western whistling music. And
Lone Wolf.
he walks up, and they start, exchanging dialogue. And then they was like, "Yo, you want in on this with us?" And he was like, "I like to work alone."
Work alone, man. That is so Chuck Norris.
I was cracking up at that. I was like, you know what? That was worth the price of admission alone, because, Chuck Norris, for all those years, they had promised him that he would star alongside some of those heavy hitters. He never got the chance to do it. So here in the movie, when he was finally in there with them, he tells them, "Boy,
oh man,
I like to work alone. You know how I like to work alone."
But the fact that they brought Chuck in for that moment, that was everything, man. That was everything.
Yeah, buddy, man. But yeah, this is a great one here too. And Mel Gibson's character was really unhinged, man.
Oh man.
You remember the one with Jet Li in there, and they had taken down most of the bad guys, and it was kind of like Jet Li just left standing back there, and Murtaugh was like, "No, Riggs." He was like, let's get on out of here. Let's get, we ain't got to do it. He was like, "But you know what? How did he take my gun apart like that? Let's go ask him."
Go ask him. And you knew you could not have that movie end without Jet Li. That was when they were just now introducing Jet Li.
Yeah, that was his first American film. Yep, that was his first American film. That was him.
And he kicked their ass, man.
He beat the crap out of them, man. That's why Murtaugh was like, "Hey, let's leave him alone, Riggs. Let's just go home."
But they had to cheat him at the end because they couldn't see him with the hands, because he was kicking their ass.
Right.
When he stood up and faced them, the whole audience in the theater was like, "Oh, He's like, "I want to know how you got my gun." He was like, "Yo," and he was beating their ass.
But see, you know what? It's great moments in cinema like that. That's what we go to the movies for, right? Stuff like that, man. It is so much of a kick in the butt for that. And I would have loved to see Mel and Kurt on screen together with their characters. That would have been great.
That would have been great at this era, at that age.
Yeah.
Because this was 1990-ish. At this age right here, if they were to do a crossover right here, they'd have got all my money. The body count would have been insane in that film. The amount of buildings that would have collapsed. Oh man, crazy stuff, man. I would love to have seen this. Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I would have loved it as well. Would have definitely loved that, bro. Would have definitely loved that. And here's another one that you had come up with that we talked about that was really, really one to yearn for. The Dirty Wish.
Dirty Wish. Come on now. Could we have gotten this in 1978, 79?
Dude, there wouldn't be enough 357 bullets out there for these two guys.
Man. And again, you could write this story right now. Because, Clint Eastwood was about 1,000 years old. Charles Bronson is no longer with us. But again, with CGI, comic books, animation, you can just write the story. The story writes itself.
Right.
Charles Bronson's character was a vigilante.
Right.
And he was never caught. And you call in Dirty Harry to come investigate, who is this guy? And he's running around the city trying to catch this vigilante. It writes itself.
Right?
This would have been brilliant right here. I'd have loved to have seen it. two of the toughest guys, the toughest characters at that time on film. And let me tell you, those Death Wish movies were brutal, man. The first one, brutal.
Oh, tell me about it.
Brutal.
But you know what? Dirty Harry was too.
Yeah.
That first one with that Zodiac killer dude, that dude was a mixed bag of cats, bro. Yeah. He was crazy as a loon. And it took Dirty Harry to get rid of that dude. It was like the San Francisco Police Department were like, let's just pay him and this and that. And Clint was like, you're gonna give this fool what he's asking for? He was like, y'all, all y'all crazy. Man.
Oh man. You know, as we're sitting here doing this, I'm thinking for the second show.
You should write them down. Write them down as you're thinking of them. Yeah, because we could just. This is again. This will be the episodes that keep on giving, bro. Because as soon as we put this one up there, I can see the change in the chat where everybody's going, hell yeah! You know what I'm saying?
Yep. As we talk, I'm thinking of them as we talk. Man, this is something. Man, this is some fun stuff right here, bro. I'm telling you, man. My gosh. The Dirty Wish. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
To write this. I would love to write this story, but you don't to release something like this. I mean, these are owned by two different companies, two different writers, two different characters. You couldn't if you release if somebody picked this up, you probably get 10 cents off the royalties, man. You wouldn't touch this, man.
Right?
Oh man, but this is something I would have loved to have seen, man. Would love to have seen this. I mean, you probably could do a YouTube fan. They do that all the time on YouTube. They can do a YouTube fan crossover thing, but that's as far as it'll get. But I would like to see something cleverly written. Give me 2.5 hours of this. I would love it. A good writer, a good mystery, and a fight at the end. Because Charles Bronson was a tough guy, man, and so was Dirty Harry. Absolutely.
I know, right? These two guys, they made being on both sides of the law cool. Right?
Yep.
They made being on both sides of the law cool. That's the only way that I can say it. You know what I mean? This is like, shoot. I listen. I actually hunted down the Death Wish, the whole series on Blu-ray, right? Because I had the first one on DVD, and I was like, I got to get these on Blu-ray. So they had a box set that had the second, third, and fourth films, and I was like, man. And I already had the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry series on Blu-ray. But I'm telling you, man, these films were great. And they always found ways to put these two characters in situations that really call for them to be their coldest. You know what I mean? It's like the villains were really something. And that's how you know when you got a good story. When you got a good villain, you know what I mean? Like, you remember the Dirty Harry one where David Soul played that rogue cop?
Yes.
Tell me that was Magnum Force. That's
Magnum
the one.
Force, yep.
Man, tell me, was that one or not? That was really something else. And that was the last thing they expected it to be, a rogue cop out there. He was basically Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he was.
He was basically Charles Bronson, but without the smarts.
Right.
Yeah, because Charles Bronson's character was kind of witty. He was intelligent. I think he started out in the first film, he was an architect. So, he had a high level of education and everything. But when you take out a man's family like they did him, it's like there's no a point of no return,
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that would be great, man. They're coming to me as
I just wrote one down myself. We could share it after the show and I'll put it together. But yeah, this is fun, man. This is fun.
Yeah.
Another one that you had suggested where some of the audience may not be as familiar with these guys.
What y'all know about that? What y'all know about this right here? What do y'all know about this right? Amos and Andy. We all know the Honeymooners, Ralph and Ed. We all know about that. But what do y'all know about Amos and Andy? Amos and Andy, these characters were, if I'm not mistaken, they used to do it was a radio show. And the characters were based out of Chicago. And what I didn't know until I think my aunt told me, there was a radio show, but it was performed by white actors on the radio show.
Right.
The characters inevitably moved to Harlem. And I think they got syndicated when they made, I think the show used to air on NBC. And then they got black actors. I forget these actors' name. I think they did 2 seasons or they were on for 2 years. But it was comedy. It was a comedy. And these characters was based out of Harlem. Amos, I think they called him the Kingfish. And he always had these wild get-rich-quick schemes. And Andy was a cab driver. And it was funny. You have to watch this to understand. You probably have to look it up. I know my mother has the box set, but it's on VHS. I'm sure they got DVD and Blu-ray probably now. But this was funny. It was only on for 2 years. And, you know, they were overshadowed by the Honeymooners, of course. Yeah, Miss Fields? Yes. And they were funny. And this guy had big ideas. You know, he's a chubby black guy who's always had to get rich quick schemes. He's always trying to come up. And that was like Ralph. Ralph was a bus operator. Salute to the bus. Matter of fact, Stormy, do you know there's a bus depot in New York called Jackie Gleason?
Is it really?
Yeah. It's in Brooklyn. Cool. It's called Jackie Gleason. Cool. It's called Jackie Gleason, and the logo for that bus depot is Jackie Gleason. It's his face. So Ralph Cramden was a bus operator, and he always had these get-rich-quick schemes, and he brought his poor soul Ed Norton into it, and let the comedy begin. And he had a wife that was always busting his balls.
Man, but, and Norton was like the goofiest of the goofy, right?
He was goofy, man. He was goofy. He was goofy. He was he just went to work. He worked in the sewer. He would go to work, and you know, he just lived life. And Ralph would always drag him into some nonsense. One of my favorite episodes was Chef of the Future. Every New Year's Eve, I stay up, and I go to I don't go partying or nothing like that. I go to my mama's house, and we sit down. And while we're eating our black-eyed peas and collard greens, we wait for that episode. Chef of the Future is the funniest. I laugh every time. But if these two characters did a crossover, well, back then, I mean, it would have been unheard of for obvious reasons, you know. But listen, man, if these characters did like a crossover, it would have been funny as hell, man. I would have loved to have seen this. Amos and Andy meets Ralph and Ed. That would have been funny as hell. The Kingfish.
Man, yeah. And I'll tell you something. The Honeymooners was a very, I mean, for its time, it was successful. But when it went into syndication where newer audiences and new generations could watch it, it's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. The Honeymooners is very good, man.
You know why? A lot of and this is something that people may not know, even the white audiences may not know. You know why black people took to Jackie Gleason's character of Ralph Cramden? Because his meltdowns, black people could relate to his meltdowns.
Yeah.
When he would start breaking and, like, you know, man, threatening, you know, you could never do that now. He threatened Alice every goddamn episode. He threatened punch in the face.
You want to go to the moon?
You want to go to the moon? To the moon. You could never do that today. But
keep flabbing, Alice. Keep flabbing.
Yep.
Bang, boom.
Yeah, he was always threatening her. You know, you could never do that today, man. But man, his meltdowns was of ethnic proportions, I'll say.
Yeah.
You know, the way he would just snap and start breaking. You remember when the robbers ended up in his house? And they got
Yeah,
to Ralph, and they took him in the room. They said, all right, tune him up. And the big dude took Ralph in there, and they were screaming. And that dude came out the room and passed out. Ralph kicked his ass.
Ralph whooped the hell out
Ralph
of that
whooped him.
He said, Alice was sitting out there in the kitchen. She was, oh, Ralph.
No.
You could hear boom, bam, boom. You hear furniture turning over and stuff. That dude came out of that room. He fell down on the floor. Ralph came out there like.
He said, I suppose it's the first time you ever ran into a bus driver. Ralph kicked his ass. That was funny as hell, man.
Yeah,
that
bro.
was the turn. Ralph had hands, man.
He did. Yes, he did, man. And you know what? You can talk from that experience, right? Because it's like how much of that pent up you have for them customers on that bus.
Oh, man.
So when he had a chance to let loose on that robber, that dude didn't stand a chance.
I identified it as I got older. I said, man. But he tuned that dude up, man. But this would have been something. This would have been something. The Kingfish meets Ralph Cramden.
Yeah, buddy. Now I want to take a quick moment and share one that I have pulled up here because it's one that happened already a long time ago, but it set things in motion as far as what we've experienced ever since. And there were even more films after that that had crossover proprieties. But again, it kind of set it on early. And that's Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Oh, yeah.
From 1943. This film right here, Universal Studios had made a series of creature films. Frankenstein kicked things off. Dracula was right there as well. There was a Frankenstein meets Dracula, but Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. The Wolfman was a character played by Lon Chaney, and he was very popular back in that time. So people were wondering, like, what if, and then the studio kind of heard that, rumbling from the people, the public, and guess what? They made the film, and it was very popular too. It was very popular. This was one of those film crossovers that they really, it was a successful thing. And then there was more of this as they went forward, because they even brought Abbott and Costello in to, help drive these stories with not only the mystery and the thriller of the monsters, but for the comedy relief of these characters of Abbott and Costello. So that even gave them even more material to stretch that. But yeah, your thoughts about this type of thing.
Let me tell you my experience with these films right here, in this genre in particular. A long time ago, I don't know what channel it came on in Chicago, but they had what they call I don't know, it was called like a monster movie hour. And the intro was actually on YouTube, Stormy.
Yeah, Creature Features.
Creature Feature, that's what it was. That's what it was. And my dad, when he came home at night, I forgot what day it would come on, but he would come home after a hard day's work and sit down in me and my brother's room, and he'd have his old plate of food, and he'd watch these movies. And I remember they played this, and he told us how, I think when he was a kid, he saw this in the movies. And I think this was, it says right there, Bela Lugosi. Yeah, it says right there, yeah. And,
in this one, Bela Lugosi played Frankenstein, and Lon Chaney reprised his role as the Wolfman. Bela Lugosi was also the most popular Dracula from back in that era. He played Dracula. Boris Karloff played the original Frankenstein, and most people love Karloff's Frankenstein, but he kind of got away from that because after playing Frankenstein's monster in 2 films, Frankenstein and the Son of Frankenstein, actually 3 films, The Bride of Frankenstein, he had elected not to want to play that character anymore because felt like he was being typecast. Boris Karloff, so he kind of walked away from those roles. But he would later resume another monster role as playing the Mummy, Imhotep.
He walked away from wanting to be other thing.
Yeah, right. So it was crazy. But yeah, Bela Lugosi played Frankenstein monster, and Glenn Strange played Frankenstein monster after Boris Karloff. And what was interesting is when they would play the rendition of the monster, they kept the makeup the same because he was very popular at that time. So the square head and the bolts coming out of the neck and stuff like that, people like that look of Frankenstein's monster. So that's one of the reasons why they didn't change it. But you know, throughout the years, when Frankenstein, you know, was made and updated, you know, like 30 years later and stuff, they tried to change the look of him and stuff, and people just didn't like him like they used to. But even Robert De Niro ended up playing Frankenstein in a movie. So it's like, you know, but there's a lot of history to that. But yeah, man, this was one of the first crossovers, and it was very successful. A lot of people got behind that. So I just thought I would kind of bring that in to share, you know, and talk about that.
Yeah, that's nostalgia for me. Yeah, I remember watching that creature feature. They play the storm, and you see all the storm sounds. You see all the monsters' faces and stuff. Yeah, man.
We did an episode on the monster films, remember? And then I played that feature, creature features intro. I played it during that.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, man. Let's go back to one of these other ones that you had created up here, which was pretty cool.
Oh, come on, man. We couldn't have got this.
And look how Jim Kelly is looking at it.
Man, come on, bro. You couldn't have got this. Because you guys might not know, Jim Kelly at one point, he was popping. He was popping. He was in some blaxploitation films. Hollywood knew who he was, man. And Chuck Norris, they knew who he was, and he was just actually Jim was popping first before Chuck really took off.
Yes, he was.
He was, man. Chuck was still the dude that fought Bruce and got killed in Return of the Dragon.
Check this out. I wanted to let the audiences know something about Jim Kelly for a little historical trivia. Jim Kelly was very popular. However, the reason why you didn't see him in some more prominent roles after Black Belt Jones, which he did do a sequel to Black Belt Jones called Hot Potato.
Hot Potato, yeah.
That was an actual sequel to Black Belt Jones. He even went over to Hong Kong to star in a film that was, you know, Bolo was in it, and Chin Sing, the Tattoo Connection. He was in that. But the reason why you didn't see more of the Jim Kelly, because he wanted to play roles like what Chuck Norris was being given when Chuck Norris, after he made Breaker Breaker and Good Guys Wear Black, those were the kind of roles that he wanted, where he could play like a cop with a gun and chase down bad guys and stuff like that. And they were trying to tell him that America didn't want to see him doing that.
Yeah.
And they wanted to give him some more disgraceful roles that he wouldn't play. And see, this is what you guys may not know. Jim Kelly kept it together, bro. He represented in the best of ways. He was a professional tennis player. He had martial arts dojos that he owned and operated. But Jim Kelly would not sell out. And the one time that he did sell out, he gave Jim Brown and Fred Williamson assistance with their Three the Hard Way, and then the sequel that came later, years later, One Down, Two to Go.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was, Jim Kelly always wanted to play straight, strong characters. See, if he lived during this time and era, he would get those roles right away. But back in those times, they were trying to do the blaxploitation, and you know, they said like characters like Shaft and stuff like that. That was like, okay, you know, people want to see that, but you can't keep playing that same character over and over again, even though Shaft did three films. But Jim Kelly wanted, to represent in the most positive of ways. And so they were discriminating against him like that.
Sure was.
Plus, he could have been a sex symbol for some of those other folks, women, and they didn't want that either. So I'm just keeping it real about that. So, and he could fight in real life and stuff like that. So there was a lot to be, you know, desired with that. But Jim Kelly, again, it's unfortunate that he's no longer with us, but at the same time, there should be some kind of documentary or whatever to really talk about him, his achievements, and what he did in life, because he's definitely a pioneer that blazed a trail for a lot of men with character and resolve should follow.
Oh man, missed opportunity, and unfortunately, with the atmosphere of what things were in Hollywood, that's just something that we dealt with. I'm glad he didn't sell out, but the trade-off was Chuck Norris didn't have to go through the red tape that he had to go through, and it's dare I say, it's the Elvis Presley effect, is what I call it. What people don't know is, you know, all the other stuff that we know was true about Elvis. Elvis understood and he loved what black people, the creativity that black people brought, and he imitated us, but he got all the credit for that stuff.
Yeah.
He got all the credit for that stuff. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Elvis loved all of those people. He loved all of those guys, man. And he got credit for a lot of stuff he didn't invent. But that didn't make him the racist. But him being put on a pedestal displayed the racism. And Jim Kelly, you know, every bit. I mean, look, Chuck Norris never won an Oscar. He's an action guy. He's a karate guy. But the shine that he got was a lot of it was due to his privilege. And that's not his fault. It's the world's fault. And that's unfortunate. What I would have loved, you know, Chuck, of course, Chuck is that man. He's not racist. Of course he's not, you know, but I would have loved to have seen, I don't know if these brothers have ever met. I've never seen a picture. Stormy, they had to have met at some point.
Oh yeah, they met. They met because they were in the same circles when back in the late 60s and early 70s with competitions and everything. So one thing about those guys, all of them were aware of one another, even if they didn't take photographs together and stuff like that. They were definitely aware of one another. And in fact, listen, I know that they knew each other and met in person because they both attended Bruce Lee's funeral in Seattle.
That's right.
They were both there. They're on film where they both were there at Bruce Lee's funeral.
That's right. And Bruce has so much respect for Jim. I've seen pictures when they were on set. Man, Bruce, he was another guy that loved black culture, man. Watch how he used to dress. He hung around the brothers in San Francisco.
Bruce's first student in America was a black man.
Black guy, yeah. Sure was.
Yep.
Sure was, man.
He liked to hang out with the brothers.
Abdul-Jabbar, one of his students.
Abdul-Jabbar.
That's right.
And you know what? Bruce took to the street dudes. That was his running game. He liked the dudes from the street, guys that got into street fights and were kind of like running from the law and stuff like that. Bruce was that type of individual.
Guys, yeah. Sure
he liked those guys. And they were all, you know, good friends of his. In fact, as he had become a star in Hong Kong, his intent was to come back to America and form a stuntman team with some of those guys that he had opened up his dojo and was teaching, and he had left a couple of his dojos in the hands of. He was going to form his own production company here in America. And he wanted to have some of those guys, a few guys he was going to bring from Hong Kong and his American cohorts, and he was going to do something in that way. But he unfortunately he passed. But he was looking to do some things.
I couldn't think of a name if you would have put these guys together in the film. I couldn't think of a name to call it, man. But man, if we could have got something like this when Jim was really like out there, I think his probably 79, between 79 and 82, and Chuck was just coming up. If they could have just got together and do a film, that would have been great.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. If Chuck wasn't so self-absorbed, because he was, if he wasn't so self-absorbed, he could have reached out to Jim Kelly and pulled him into one of his films.
Yeah,
and that would have done a lot. But see, he was too busy trying to focus on making himself a star. That's the one thing about Bruce. Even though he had become a star, he was bringing people that he knew into the films with him. He would rather go and get some of his students or people that he knew to put them in films rather than just to hire Hong Kong stuntmen to play characters in his films. That's where he was different. That's why you saw Abdul-Jabbar and Dan Inosanto in Game of Death. He was going to have Taki Kimura, who was also one of his #1 students from the US. He was going to have him in there playing one of the guardians of the second floor of the temple in the pagoda in Game of Death. He was really working toward bringing these type of men in. He believed in having real martial artists do stuff. Do you know that in Enter the Dragon, all of the fight scenes that Jim Kelly did, Bruce let Jim Kelly do his own choreography for his fight scenes.
Oh, wow.
So when you saw him taking on those police officers in that alley, when you saw him in the tournament in Hans Island, when he was fighting the Australian guy, Peter Archer, whatever Jim did in his fight sequences, Bruce allowed him to be the choreographer of that. He wanted him to be comfortable with whatever he did. All he told him to do was that, you're gonna fight this guy and you're gonna come out on top. Now you guys go over there and work out what you're gonna do, work out your choreography, come back, show me what you got, and we'll fine tune it and go from there. That's how he worked it with Jim Kelly.
That's brilliant. I didn't even know that. You know what I remember on Into the Dragon, when the Australian dude was on the boat bullying people. You see Jim sitting there and just standing there. He walked right past him. Because he looked at him. You see how Jim look in this picture right here?
Yep.
It's like that character. He's like, yeah, I want all the smoke. You come here with that nonsense. He walked right past him.
Yeah, because he told Han, he was like, "Are you shocked, Mr. Williams?" He was like, "Only at how sloppy your man was."
he didn't care. He's like, "I'll fight Bolo. I don't care." Like, yo, yeah, do that. You scared with all those muscles. He can get it. Come on, man. He black in this country.
And quick side note to you guys. Quick side note to you. One more about Jim Kelly and Enter the Dragon. Originally, Jim Kelly's character was supposed to survive and John Saxon's character was supposed to die.
Yep.
Now, John Saxon, who had done TV roles and a couple of movies, he had more luster on his career than Jim Kelly or Bruce Lee. So what he did was he fought with the producer for having a greater role in the film, meaning like he wanted to be more out front because he felt himself to be a more established star, if you will, or whatever. And Bruce didn't have that type of pull on the production to say anything about that. But it was supposed to be Jim Kelly's character, and Han was supposed to end up killing Roper. but it worked out the other way, and unfortunately Jim Kelly's character ended up being the one taken out. But if you could look at what was happening prior to the way the film played out, it was looking like Williams's character was going to be with Bruce and side with him because of his justness. You see what I'm saying? Roper was the one that had questionable morals and ethics.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying here? So the groundwork was laid there for it to be a certain kind of way, but it ended up going a different way. But that was not the way it was supposed to go. Roper was supposed to flip and try to get with Han or whatever. Jim Kelly was supposed to fight alongside of Bruce and become a hero at the end. But you see how fate would have it?
Man, that was crazy, man. That was crazy. Because, you know, even back then, when the brother died in the films, man, you felt a little bit, you felt it more. When the brother died in the films, man. It's like, damn it. Because he was such a cool character. You're like, damn, man. And how he died. It's like, damn.
Right.
Pissed me off, man, but whatever. But I would love to have seen a crossover with Chuck and Jim. That would have been dope. Some karate stuff.
Yeah, now to get to one that I had said that I was going to surprise you with. How about this one?
Oh. Oh, what? Bro. They did this on Death Battle?
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know what you're looking at, this is Flash Gordon versus Buck Rogers. Yo! Y'all don't know who Buck Rogers is? Oh my gosh, I'd have loved to have seen this. Don't tell me who wins. I'm going to look at it later. Goodness gracious, man. This is dope.
Right? Now, the original Flash Gordon, Buster Crabbe from 1930s, also played Buck Rogers. The original Buck Rogers from the late 30s, early 40s. So Buster Crabbe played both characters, believe it or not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yup.
Oh, what? Man, don't tell me who wins this. Buck Rogers is my guy. But Flash is my guy too.
Right? And we recently did something talking about Flash. So yeah, man. But when I saw this, I was like, I'm gonna sneak this in here on Drew. His eyes gonna pop open when he sees that, bro.
This right here, man. This is a crossover right here.
Right?
Yo, didn't Buck Rogers want all the smoke though?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did,
all the
man.
smoke. When I was a kid, I wanted to see Buck Rogers go straight up with Captain Kirk.
Yeah, right?
They love the fight, man.
Which is another great crossover right there.
Yeah, right? Captain Kirk and Buck Rogers, man. That would have been great. But, you know, Buck Rogers got frozen and thrown in time.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and I think Flash Gordon is just in another dimension. But man, oh man, this is everything right here.
Mm-hmm.
Buck Rogers.
Crossover. When I came across that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna put this up here, bro.
A crossover that we all talked about as kids that actually happened on the big screen real quick. They actually paid homage to everything was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time you saw Looney Tune characters on the same screen with Disney characters. And it was great. I loved every second of it. Loved every second of it. But this right here, oh man, this is everything right here. I got goosebumps. Oh man, Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, man. This would have been crazy.
Right?
Oh, they could write it. They could write it, man.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Buck Rogers, man. What was that robot's name? Twiggy?
Yeah.
There was a kid that used to. I'm going to hell. There was a kid in junior high school that used to stutter. And yo, you know what? He pissed the teacher off so bad one day. He said, "Go to the principal's office," and the kid started cursing at him, but he was like, he's stuttering. And when he slammed the door on him, he said, "Get out, get out!" He slammed the door. He said, "Go to the principal's office, Twiggy." And we all looked at each other. We said, "He ain't just do that." Yo, Stormy, I was trying not to laugh for 40 minutes in that classroom. I had tears coming down. I said, he called him Twiggy. And only like 10 people in the class caught that.
Right, knew who he was, yeah.
F you, Mr. He's like, "Go to the principal's office. Get out of here, Twiggy." And my boy was behind me. He said, "Mitty, mitty, mitty." I was like, "Yo, don't. Oh my God." He was like, "Mr. The teacher's name was Mr. Marquetta. Remember Mr. Marquetta? F you, Mr. Marquetta." He said, "Get out of here, Twiggy." And my boy was like, I put my head down. I was like, oh God, because I didn't want to be next. Oh, I had tears rolling down my face, man. I said, yo, I laughed for the rest of the day. He called him Twiggy. Mr. Marquetta fired a shot, the bastard that he was. Oh.
Now, we got a few more, but and you know, there's a couple of prominent ones on there that didn't show yet, but we'll say that for part 2.
Yeah. I've been writing stuff down for part 2, man. We definitely got to revisit this.
But I got an image I want to put up just to remind people of what it really means to see the crossovers. It was 2 images. I'm gonna show you the one first from the comics.
Oh, of course.
This crossover here in the comics has always been very popular, but there's a very good chance that we're going to see something in live action. But check this out. This is an artist rendering, and of course the film is soon coming out.
Yeah, we might get that.
We might get it. We might get it. So with that, you know, just keep your eyes out. I'm hearing that there's some cameos that they've been working real hard to keep it from leaking out. But it's gonna be interesting when the Deadpool film comes out.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be very interesting.
But can't wait.
But yeah, man, that's you know, that's a pretty good artist rendering too, because that's how they both look. You know, that's how they look.
Can't wait for that, man. Oof. Goodness.
But yeah, we'll
review on that when everyone sees it. The review on that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we'll get ready to call it in right now. Yeah, that way it give you time. You got pep talk, right?
We got about 8 minutes. We could do one more.
Okay, one more.
Yeah.
This is one that you had talked about putting together Iron Knights, where we could see Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne, 2 billionaires. Huh? Listen,
oh, man.
This right here, and definitely Ben Affleck's version of Batman. Yeah, because
this right here, the story damn near writes itself.
Yes,
this story writes itself, man. I have a bunch of ideas, and they're both billionaires. They're both geniuses, and Tony Stark comes to Gotham, and it's like, you know, they already know who each other are. They know who they are, like as far as billionaires is concerned, you know. But Tony's not there, you know. He's there for business, but then there's also something else going on. and it's a villain from the Marvel universe in Gotham. Come to find out, Batman's already on his bumper, but what Starks is not prepared for is how mental the Joker is. You know, and it could be a litmus of villains that Iron Man has dealt with. It could be the Mandarin from the comic books. It could be the Mandarin. It could be Doctor Doom. It could be anybody. But this story writes itself, and it'd be so incredible. It'd be incredible, man. This is great, whether it's animated or live action with these two characters. And I think down the road, if things keep going the way they're going, we'll see a DC Marvel crossover on film. We'll see. We'll get one. It's no time soon, but we're going to get one if DC could stay focused on what they're doing for an extended amount of time. But you know, out of their mind. But I believe sometime in the future we'll get one crossover, just one. But this right here, this story writes itself. This right here would flood the theaters. This right here.
Yeah. The billionaires would bring in a few billion.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Easter eggs in this, the possibilities, the after credit scenes, during credit scenes.
Do you remember in the Justice League movie when the Flash asked Bruce Wayne, he said, "What are your superpowers again?" He said, "I'm rich."
I'm rich.
But that was spot on, because remember his ship he was building?
Yeah.
Dude, it's like they could have done so much. I mean, Warner Brothers, they just crap all over their productions. I don't know what these people are doing, but at least we got those 3 films out of Zack Snyder, man. At least we got those 3. And for anybody that saw the theatrical cut of Justice League, just throw that in the garbage. Watch Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's right.
That's all you need to see. That movie is 4 hours long. 4 hours long. You think Peter Jackson was on his stuff? Zack Snyder took it away.
Man, oh man. I love it, man. That right there, man. I think that's the realest situation right there of a possibility. But you know, what do we know? We're just fans asking. Gosh, don't you think sometimes in Hollywood they put their personal gripes and attitudes and vendettas ahead of what the fans want to see? I think that all the time, man. All the time. But what do I know? I mean, we just pay money. You know what I'm saying? This is incredible stuff. But yeah, this is definitely something, this topic right here, definitely something we
Dude, look at how we blew through that hour and a half.
we didn't even get to everything, y'all.
Yeah, we had about 6 more for tonight. We'll just save those plus the ones we've thought of for the next show. But
you want to know how many I thought of? I'll just give you a number. How many I thought of as we were sitting here? I thought of another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I thought of another 10 more.
Great.
So we'll save that. And we didn't get to 1, 2, 3, 4. There's still 4 left.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna save that. We're gonna save that because there was some good ones. The other 4, the last 4, man, we didn't get to them. That's okay.
Yep. It's okay. We didn't get to them. That's why. Hey, I told you. I was looking at it when I was putting this together. I said, let me put part 1 up there.
Yup. Man, but yeah, this was good. And you see how fast the time goes, man? Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Yep. So so I'm just straightening out the list now. Okay, so next time we do this, the list is now updated, and I'm sure you'll think of a bunch. Man, there's a lot we didn't get to. Oh, yeah, we definitely gonna come back and revisit this, man. Man, but salute, man. This was fun, man. This was fun. Y'all make sure y'all like and share the video, man. Man, this is crazy. Yeah, I had fun with this. And again, y'all, there's about 14 others that we didn't. Wait till we do this again, man. Wait till we do this again. This is gonna be great, man. But salute, man. This is great. I'm gonna head over and start a pep talk, man. And when we revisit this, I'm gonna do some more. I'm gonna do some more memes. So
yeah, definitely. I like how you put those together. So, but see, this is what we be telling you guys. Come on over here and check us out, because we got stuff happening on this show right here. It's always popping, man. Always. But yeah, you go ahead, bro, and get ready to do that. I'm gonna show our little sponsor services before I sign it off. But I appreciate your efforts and what you put in for tonight, man. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait till we come back with a second part to follow up. We'll let some space, you know.
We'll be here for the next one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But this was great. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Salute to the chat, man. I'll see y'all in a minute.
All right, peace. For those of you who want to join the brother Drew over there at the Painful Excellence podcast, it'll be coming up in a short moment at the bottom of the hour. From right now, we're going to hear a little bit from our sponsors, starting with the Focus Ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improve footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah. So don't forget to get you some of that merchandise, man. That's what's up. I want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in to us tonight. It was a great show. We had a lot of fun. And we will return with this particular subject with the second part, producing more crossovers that we'd like to see. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. Thank you for tuning in. Peace to everybody. Have a safe week. We'll catch you guys on the next one.